Craig Brain is not your brain or my brain. Love it or hate it or something in between. Welcome to the squishy, alien middle inside of this dude's skull. Take a peek. Take a peek.
Welcome back. It's Craig Gross, Craig Brain. This episode, I'm still on the balance and being section, and the topic today is turn your damn phone off. Man, this one's been fun. Levi wrote me a text when he finished the edit on this, and he said, "I made you a cranky ass old man. I hope that's okay." And then he had some emoji because he's 20. And so when I reread it, I just kind of laughed. But man, this stuff does fire me up. This stuff does bother me. And recently, I was working with somebody, and we use Basecamp. And so Basecamp's a project management tool. And what happens is you post a project like Craig Brain, episode 4. And then you go, "Hey, guys, I need the edited files." And the guy goes, "Okay, great. Here's your edited files." And then the next person goes, "Great, I'll review them." And then the person makes a comment, says, "Great, they're awesome." And then you close the task. But then if you have to go find the stuff, it's very good, way better than email, to be able to track projects. And then you're like, "Oh, where was that file?" It's in Basecamp. So then the beauty of Basecamp is, and this is not an ad, this podcast brought to you by Basecamp. It's not, but I give everyone their book. It's called Rework. And then their project management tool, it's awesome. Sure, there's Asana fans and Slack fans for you 20-year-old millennials that just want text messages instead of like long. No, this is a to-do. I need more than Slack. Not a huge fan of Slack. But anyways, on Basecamp, person I was talking to just wrote back like on the comments, and he just said like, H-U-H ? Jeff. This is let's just call him Jeff. And so, And I said, then I wrote back, "Read above." And then I think I got another, No, I got, okay. So what happens is in your inbox, it notifies you that somebody just made a comment. And most people today, I think, operate completely backwards. We look at our emails from most recent to, furthest. And so you get a notification on Basecamp, and it says, "Hey, And you don't understand because you're like, no, you have to read the top of the thread. And so I said, "Hey, why don't you just turn off notifications on Basecamp?" And a lot of people don't know that you can't do that. So I go into Basecamp settings, and I try and look for that tool. And then on the settings, it actually says, "Only notify me during normal business hours." Or then it has another check, "Notify me 24/7. And of course, I check 24/7 because I don't work normal business hours. But then I thought about this. Like, there's so many people that work today. There's so many people that, you own your own business, or you don't have to check in at an office. But yet, so we're living like this great freedom of like, I don't have to check in. But yet we do things like, yes, Basecamp, notify me 24/7 whenever you want. So our people that work in Romania, or the people that work in New York, or the people that work on the West Coast, like someone's always working. And then you're always getting Basecamp notifications. And then the other problem, I go, well, not only do we get all this disruption from every piece of technology we put in our life, we then somehow have a level of urgency today that I've never understood. Like, I grew up with an answering machine. And so you go to your answering machine, and it says you have 9 new messages. So my teachers used to call and leave my dad's business voice message machine when I was in trouble. So if I could get home before my dad, and my dad hardly knew how to check the answering machine, but somehow they would call him, so I could figure out, I just have to rewind. Where are those messages? I would delete them before my dad would listen to them. But when you listen to an answering machine, you hit play, and it plays the first one, not the last one. Because that's how we used to operate. Like, I called you at 2. Hey, I called you at 5. I'm just checking in again. You wouldn't listen to the I'm just checking in one. It plays them in order. But our inboxes and our notifications, everything's about the urgent. So I could be sitting with a guy I haven't seen in years, and we're connecting, and yet he's getting blown up on text. instead of just, oh, well, someone's just going to get my voicemail, or obviously on the answering machine, there's that thought of like, I'll get you later. But now it's like you don't respond to somebody's text and they're sending you a question mark. Like, no, respond. My friend Johnny, you can follow him on Instagram. I'll put his Instagram like right below me. So at Johnny, you'll see it. He's single. He should have his own podcast on dating girls today, because he was recently at a mastermind group that I was in, and he was telling us guys that are all married about the instructions that he got from his former girlfriend on how he had to respond to her within 20 minutes or less. He had to use at least 4 emojis during the day in their conversations, and he needed long answers that are really thought through when he responds to her. It was like, oh my gosh, like this is crazy. But whether you're dating crazy or you've become crazy, I think technology will do that. From the amount of time that you're spending to the amount of disruptions to the amount of things that it's taking you from. And so I was in Mexico. This was back, year and a half ago. And we went there over July. And I was like, how do I turn off notifications on my phone? And it's a very tough thing to do. I had to get somebody from the Apple store involved. And because I was like, man, every device, every new app, everything you install wants to track where you're going, where you're at, and wants to ding you. And I was like, how do I get rid of all that? And then my kids thought I was crazy. And it was like, no, I made them go on Voxer, which was the one app I could find that we could kind of share. And that's how we would communicate. And that would just be our family kind of chat. And so I was like, all right, we tried it. There's no way you can delete text messages on your phone. But what you can do is take all the notifications off, and then you can move text messages to like the back screen of your phone. So you're not, on the third screen, so you're not looking at it. And then when I do look at text messages, sometimes it's like, oh, you have 35 text messages. And it's like, yeah, my friends and people that work with me know, like, hey, don't respond to that. And there's other ways to get a hold of me. I have no notifications still on my phone on anything. And so when I get on Voxer, I take that back. My kids and my wife are the only things that notify me on Voxer. Everybody else's notifications on Voxer don't give me an alert. And so I look at it when I can. And then when I talk to people that know me on Voxer, that I've worked with, it's like, look, I don't expect you to turn notifications on for me either, because I don't want to live like that. And I think the day and age that we're in, we're just constantly disrupted. And so this piece was about just how I did it, why I hate it, why I don't think we can develop real relationships just on technology today. The amount of just kids, and I say kids, but even kids Johnny's age, that like they think they're going to, not Johnny, but Johnny's available and this guy knows his stuff. So this whole podcast is brought to you by Johnny, Johnny's need for a girlfriend. But it's crazy why we think that text messaging or this is how we're going to get to know somebody, get on the phone with people, get in person with somebody, enjoy some moments where you're like, no, you know what? Instagram can wait. I'm just going to enjoy that and be there. I've been to 2 events recently where they actually said you can't have your phones, and it's awesome. It's awesome. And so this piece, man, go old school. Get out of the habit of responding to the urgent. I've had to learn this, just especially being a 3. It's like, no, I'm fast. I'm going to respond to you. And now if it takes me 2 to 3 days to get back to you on email, it's like, dude, I've got other work that I'm working on besides waiting for that thing to ding in my inbox. Like, I hate email. I'm on a quest to figure out how do I actually remove email from my life. My buddy who runs a massive business, I was with him a couple of days ago and I was like, how many emails do you get? And he's like, 12, 15. I was like, a day? Like nobody? Like you have this? He's like, yeah, I know. Why? And I was like, oh my gosh, the thought of like, because it makes it hard. Like you want to be with people and you want to do maybe something that you love more. And then you're like, wait, I have this ever mound of emails piling up that just takes you away from being present, takes you away from just being maybe involved in the things that you really love. So if you take anything away from this, man, figure out one thing. Go on that screen time on your iPhone. There's something that says screen time. Enable it and check it. And just if you're like, oh, I don't spend that much time on it. Yeah, look at the crap that you're looking at and what's taking you away from that. So when I talk about going to a spa or going and finding the Lord in something, it's like, man, if you've got to get rid of something to probably make time to do what's way more important for you. And you probably got a good indication of that when you stare down at your iPhone. It says, hey, I spent 4 hours and 56 minutes on YouTube. Like, yeah, you could probably do something better. So there it is. I hope you enjoy it.
Thanks for thinking through Craig Brain. This podcast is only a small summarized part of a larger conversation. To read the full story, check out www.craigbrain.com, join the Craig Brain group on Facebook, and follow @Craig Gross on whatever social suits your fancy.